What is up, takers? It is your host. I go by the name of Tyler. And joining me today, I'm super excited for this conversation. Of course, it's the beginning of June. And for those of you that don't know, you do know now, it is officially the start of Pride Month. And joining me today is a Michigander. She's a vocalist, songwriter, trumpeter, and she is one of this year's NYC Pride 2024 Grand Marshals. And she goes by the name of Baddie Brooks. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So before we dive in, I just want to give you your flowers and congratulate you. I am super excited for you being from Michigan. And it's just so exciting that you are going to be honored and recognized during the Pride Parade. So I'm looking forward to sharing a little bit more throughout this virtual series that we're doing, since we were unable to host like an actual live event with like drag queens and performers. We're taking a different approach this year by highlighting just some of those talented individuals within our community. And I'm excited to know a little bit about your experience being within the LGBTQIA plus community and how really you started with your career.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again. So I would say that I'm actually pretty new to the community, like in regards to like being in Michigan. I came out as a trans woman, I want to say in 2021, so not too long ago. But I want to say that my music career started off about I want to say when I was 9 years old is when I started learning how to play the trumpet. So I grew up in Belleville, like playing trumpet. I went to Belleville High School. I also played the euphonium, but I definitely would want to say that I was like very involved in the arts growing up, like definitely learning trumpet, learning euphonium. And I was also in choir, and I was also a little theater nerd too. So I was kind of all over the place within the art scene growing up.
Absolutely. And I was going through, scrolling through your Instagram prior to our interview today, and shout outs to Gigi's, because I'm pretty sure I saw Gigi's Gay Club featured in one of your like music videos on social media, right?
Yes. So my first music video for Bust Down Wig, okay? Um, that was my first music video that I had ever did. And I had the honor of being able to film it at Gigi's and connect with some local drag queens as well. So I had like a ton of fun filming that at Gigi's.
Absolutely. Yes. Shout outs to Gigi's and all of their, it's so interesting just to see the various different forms of talent that comes out of like our local nightclubs that we visit and frequent so much. So when I saw the backgrounds, I instantly knew, because I was a regular at one point, every night, every Friday night. So definitely shout outs to Gigi's for being one of the longest open gay establishments in Detroit and Metro Detroit.
Yes, I just celebrated 50 years.
Yes, incredible. I have a lot of friends that perform there as well. So shout outs to all our local talent. What has been some of the most challenges and obstacles that you've experienced as a music artist and as particularly a trans identified artist?
I think that one obstacle that I had initially was just connecting with people because when I initially came out, I just didn't really know anyone. But being here for just a few years, I want to say that I have connected with a lot of people and have been welcomed like with open arms, like from different people across the community. I think another challenge has just been like at first trying to figure out how I wanted to go about marketing my music. But I do have a background in public relations. I graduated from Eastern Michigan University. So I think some of that prior knowledge with that came in handy. But I think at first I definitely struggled to connect with people, but now it comes naturally.
Absolutely. Ooh, shout outs to EMU. And I might have to, we might have to talk, because maybe I could I'm already envisioning future projects. So I'm gonna need your help as far as marketing and promotions.
Okay.
So you mentioned, starting off locally and, initially beginning relatively new your career in the industry. I formerly did social media for so many years for Ferndale Pride. So I want to talk a little bit about how going from these local appearances and performances and now being one of the Grand Pride Marshals for New York City Pride. Like, let's pay our respects and give you that recognition, because that is an incredible accomplishment. And I want to know initially, what your feelings were when you first found out, and then how you're feeling when, you know, we're weeks away, days away, leading up to the parade and the festival and festivities.
Yes. So when I first found out, I was gagged. I said, me? So I was initially contacted by Dominique Morgan, who is the director of the for Borealis Philanthropy, and it's for the Fund for Trans Generations. So like it centers around investing in trans people, especially young trans people, and like as a young Black trans woman myself, I just feel really honored to have this like opportunity to one be featured and invested in. But I'm just very appreciative to Dominic Morgan who reached out to me for the opportunity. And so we've been like coordinating as far as like the details regarding New York City Pride. So I'm just really excited because this is actually my first Pride festival like outside of Michigan. Like I've never done one outside of Michigan. So like I'm just really excited to like expand my horizons and connect with more people.
Absolutely, and continuing to grow your following and audience, and
Mhm.
being able to give them a taste of Baddie Brooks. So
Yes.
that being said, and you had mentioned, you know, I was looking at the lineup, and you're alongside some big names,
Yes.
such as researcher Deshaun Usher, a very acclaimed activist, Miss Major, and of course one of my favorites, the ever so stunning Michelle Visage. So I mean, that's incredible for you to be alongside these individuals that have truly been pioneers in our community, and being able to add yourself to that list. So it's such an incredible accomplishment, and I'm so happy for you.
Me too. And I feel like it's also going to be a wonderful opportunity to connect with them. I'm like, hey, Michelle. Hey, everyone. Like,
Hey, Michelle, Ty said, "What's up?" Diving into talk a little bit more about New York City Pride, their theme this year is reflect, empower, and unite. So for me, I would like to know, how does this theme resonate and hit home for you personally? And what strategies are you going to implement to continue raising awareness about issues and very important matters that impact the LGBTQIA plus and trans community on a daily basis?
when I think about this theme for New York City Pride this year, um, the one that definitely sticks out to me is reflect, because just thinking about and reflecting on my own personal experiences as someone who spent 13 years within the closet, which I described in one of my songs for my album Reclamation. I just think about like how long that I wasn't being myself and where I am now. And I'm also thinking about where I have to go moving forward. Like I feel very honored to be in the position that I'm in at 24 years old. I feel like I've just like got so far to go, but like I'm like, wow, I really have accomplished a lot in just a few years of being with just being an artist for a few years, and releasing my first album last year. um, I think about empower, and I think about like even my own ability to empower other queer and trans people, especially like within my age range and demographic. Because I know that like when I was in the process of coming out, I personally felt really discouraged. So I think that like you never know who you're setting an example for. So I just think that this opportunity is very special. And then when I think about unite, I of course think about unity within the community. I think that as a community we can continue to grow and be united, because you know without a community, without us being together, like what do we have? And what I think, I want to continue to spread the message that it's like more than okay to be yourself, and that you deserve to feel like empowered within your identity. I think it's important for any like young trans or queer person to know that like no one can tell you who you are besides yourself. So to just like, if it's safe to do so, to stand firm within your truth.
Absolutely. And, you know, of course, during Pride Month comes a series of very different things, such as, you know, corporate companies changing their logos just for the time being, for the rainbow, or, you know, doing these temporary changes in corporate, as well as, you know, I hate to even do this, but to talk a little bit about the politics. And we know that there's been so many bills targeting the LGBTQIA plus community, especially the trans community, from trying to ban and shut down drag shows and performances, to banning the type of books that are available. And then just recently, I just read that the Florida governor, and I'm not going to even mention his name because we don't need to, but he recently implemented a ban on changing the color of the lights that are alongside like uh, bridges and overpasses. And to me, it just doesn't make sense. And I want to know a little bit about your thoughts on those issues that are unfortunately impacting us on a daily. And we're constantly being targets within our own community.
I feel like policies that target both trans and queer people are unacceptable. I am certain that there are other more prevalent issues within this country other than like trying to decide whether we can use the bathroom, things like lights. Like there are way more important issues. I think there needs to continue to be more advocacy for us, especially trans youth, with everyone being targeted with all of those bills. It's just important to continue to spread the message that like just because we're queer, just because we're trans, that doesn't mean that we should be treated differently for who we are. And we need to continue to protect and advocate for trans youth.
Absolutely. And then now I want to shift gears a little bit now that we got the politics of it out of the way. I want to talk more about your music and
Yes.
where can we find your music? What current music projects are you working on? And if you had the opportunity, let's speak it into existence and manifest it. Who would you, Baddie Brooks, want to work with? Whether it's a music artist, a songwriter, producer, let's just go ahead and speak that out into existence. So this time next Pride Month, we can talk about all the major accomplishments.
Oh, okay. So I'm gonna talk about my projects, but I'm gonna give you the tea on who I want to collab with really quick. So one artist who's at the top of my list would be Sabrina Carpenter, because I got espresso in my head like every day that I'm working late because I'm a singer. It's my song. So her, I've also been listening to Tyla a lot. Like I love her album. I think like yeah, I'm just in love with her album. Also Ariana Grande, that's my girl. SZA, like all of them would love a collab. Manifesting it right now. And so, in terms of my own personal projects, I released my first album, Reclamation, last year. I want to say that like my life has changed ever since I released that album. Because like sometimes people would just message me and be like, "I love your album," and I'm like, "Thanks." And then I also heard one of my songs being played on W Detroit. Think it was 97 Boyfriends, which is one of the singles that I released. And I released that like right before my album too.
And that's currently streaming on WDET Detroit, right?
Yes. And let's see, my whole album is also available on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, so you can find it in different places.
Awesome. So I want to talk a little bit more about 97 Boyfriends and what was the vision and inspiration behind that single?
Yes. So 97 Boyfriends stems with like how frustrating dating can be like as a Black trans woman. I feel like one common problem that I deal with is like a lot of people like fetishizing us. So the message behind it is like to stop fetishizing trans people, which like it's more crystal clear within the extended version of it. But like it's quite literally like I have all these people that are interested in me, but like nobody really wanting to like actually date me. So like it's why it's called 97 Boyfriends, because it's like it's so many and it's overwhelming.
Absolutely. And so for those out there that may be listening and maybe they want to, start a career in music or, be an ally within particularly or especially the trans community, what advice would you give to those upcoming artists? And then how can people out there watching that may not, identify within our community, but they want to be an ally or they want to be a supporter? Believe it or not, some people don't even know like what being an ally means. So I think it's important to make it clear that we need those positive allies, not like the governor in Florida, but what can people do to get involved and truly support us in our communities?
Yes. So for upcoming artists, I would say to do what you do and don't stop. Like in terms of social media, like when you're posting your art, even if it has 3 likes, maybe 3 people saw it, they can send it to 3 other people, and so forth. Like you never know who is paying attention to your social media. Like that's what another reason why I was so like surprised when I was selected to be a Grand Marshal for New York City, because I'm like, I didn't even know they were paying attention to my social media like that or knew who I was. Um, so like just never stop, and also don't compare yourself to other people. I feel like when you compare yourself to other people too much, you put unrealistic standards on yourself. Just do what you do and do what you do best. Again, like circling back to the theme of nobody being able to tell you who you are, only you can tell you who you are. So just do what you do and don't compare yourself to other people. In terms of allyship, I think it's very important for it to not be performative. Like if you want to be an ally, then mean it and stand on it. The best way to be an ally is to learn directly from whatever marginalized group that you're trying to uplift. So let's say you're trying to be an ally to trans people, then you need to learn directly from trans people, and figure out what's the best ways to uplift them by talking with us, connecting with us, but also respecting our boundaries and knowing the best ways to uplift us.
Absolutely. As well as, I think, like you said, learning head on from those that are currently battling these different topics and issues within our day-to-day lives, such as, just overall respect, especially when it comes to like preferred gender pronouns and, how we want to be recognized and how we truly identify, as well as even like issues that pertaining to that we experience during it involves to like healthcare and treatment and services that are offered to us. I think it's so important to not just be, not to just be a quote unquote ally for the looks or for the title, but to actually be active and get involved and know what's going on and, take the time to know who we are as people.
Absolutely.
All right. So that being said, I want to know, I know New York City Pride, I'm sure you're counting down the days. But what can we expect from you from the rest of this year, and where can people find you and get connected on social media?
Yes, so people can connect with me on social media on Instagram and Facebook at Baddie Brooks Official. And one thing that I'm extremely excited about is I am releasing a new single. So this is the first song that I'm releasing following my debut album. But the new single is called Nails. And so I will also be releasing a music video with that on June 28th.
Absolutely. Well, I'm so excited. And like I said earlier, we were manifesting a lot. So all of those things are soon to be on the horizon for you. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing just a part of your story and experience. And I'm looking forward to the videos and the photos from New York City Pride. And I'm sure we would love to have you back on the show again. So thank you so much for taking just a little bit of time to talk with us today.
Yes, thank you again for having me. And again, I'm really excited for New York City Pride and my new single dropping on June 28th.
Absolutely. And we'll be sure to post all of Baddie Brooks' social media within the captions and video description of this video. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Pride.